Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is hurt or inconvenienced. Well, I'm thinking of this topic because this is 2020, and there's been a lot of strange things happening this year. We've had the COVID lockdowns, and there's been the riots and the protests, which lead to the riots, and which lead to the looting and the arson and the violence and the hurting people and even killing people. So, and then the COVID lockdowns, they've changed how we go about our lives dramatically. So, when I look at both things, though, neither of those things have hurt me personally. They've inconvenienced me, yes. The COVID lockdowns have inconvenienced me a lot. It's very annoying, very disruptive, very difficult to understand. The riots and the protests, they've been a distraction because you kind of, I'm following them or looking at them on the screen or reading about them or seeing videos about them, and it's been inconvenient because then it takes time to absorb all that information. But they haven't hurt me. I haven't been involved in a protest or a riot. I haven't been near one. I haven't participated in one. I haven't had to drive through one or walk by one and deal with it. The protests and the riot have inconvenienced me, but they haven't hurt me. And the same with the COVID. The COVID lockdowns have inconvenienced me. They make me I have to think more about everything, how you do things, and that's an inconvenience. But it hasn't hurt me. And I think you'll find that if the more you can think about these disruptions, these big events in life as an inconvenience rather than a hurt, the more you can move on with your life, adapt to whatever changes are necessary, and still enjoy your life and be a happier man. I'm starting to adapt to the COVID lockdowns. I guess I'm having a little bit of fun here and there. I'm starting to adjust how I approach things and not. I'm trying to not be so stubborn in how I want things to be. Yeah, I want things to go back to normal. Right? They were very good the way they were, but if they don't, I still want to have some fun. I still want to enjoy my life. I still want to be happier than heck and do all kinds of fun stuff. So I've got to be willing to adapt, just like you need that. You have to adapt to the changing times and realize that we've always had to do this. We've always had to adapt. We've always been majorly inconvenienced by forces outside of our control, and we have to somehow pick up the pieces and move on, right? If you just study your history and visualize yourself within that history, you'll see that there's been massive changes to the world, and a lot of it's been massively good, but there has been certainly some massive problems too. So you don't want to stick your head in the sand and assume that the COVID lockdowns will ever really end and things will go back to normal. I tend to think that things will peter out and we'll eventually get back to something closer to what we had, but we don't know that. You don't know that that's the case. If you're counting on that happening, I don't think you should count on that. I think you should figure out a way to make your life good if it keeps going the way it's going. Right? You get what I mean? If it's going, if the world has changed, you're going to have to adapt to that change. Right? And we've always seen this, right? There's always, every once in a while, there'll be a massive disruption in a local area, or a world area, or a national, a state, or a local area, or a country. There'll be massive weather issues that kind of change everything for long periods of time. There'll be wars, there'll be hurricanes, there'll be tornadoes, there'll be floods, fires, drought. All of that weather just changes everything, and you have to adapt to those changes in this COVID situation, and whether however you fall on the understanding of it, you have to be aware that that there's changes, and you have to adapt to it. So if you're trying to have fun by going out on the town, doing all the stuff you used to do, well, it's not going to work, right? That's kind of my issue, is I like to do that, going out on the town and having fun with people, going to bars, restaurants, concerts, sporting events, all that kind of normal fun that's been restricted this year. Well, what if that doesn't come back, or it comes back so slow? Well, you still want to have some fun, so I'm trying to do that. So I've been inconvenienced, and I'm trying to move on. But it hasn't hurt me. I mean, I haven't lost tons of money. I haven't been beaten up or killed. I haven't been sick. I haven't been, harmed. I still have a job. I still have my income. I still have, everything is kind of fine. It's just inconvenient as all heck. But it hasn't hurt, right? The same with the protests and the rioting and all the problems that go along with the protests and the rioting. I haven't personally been there. It hasn't affected me. Nothing's happened to my surroundings. So it hasn't hurt me. So I'm trying to be positive about this. It is inconvenient and a major distraction. I don't think it should be happening, but it has happened. And just because you think something shouldn't happen doesn't mean it hasn't happened, right? But if you can avoid being hurt by it, well, do that. So if you don't want to get involved, get hurt in a protest that turns into a riot, well, don't go to the protest. Right? Don't do things that puts you in the harm's way. Don't get hurt, but deal with the inconvenience. All for now.